Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with another box, this time of Harnoncourt, with the complete recordings of the Chamber Orchestra of Europe on Warner, formerly Teldec. Now, it makes a lot of sense to do it this way, actually, because Harnoncourt's legacy was carved up after his passing by Warner and into like strange little like excerpts of cycles and collections of symphonies and things, usually terribly. So it's much, much better just to toss it all in a box and release it. But he did so much stuff that to organize it by orchestra actually makes sense. He could do a Concertgebouw box, they could do a Vienna Phil box, they could do, of course, Concertos Musicus, which would be like 7,000 billion discs long. But it was logical. And there's some good stuff in here, and there's some really dreadful stuff in here. And, it's Harnoncourt. So you know you're going to get a selection of both. Unfortunately, in this particular box, well, the good stuff and the bad stuff are sort of equal. But the good stuff is so good. And the bad stuff is so bad. Well, let's just talk about what's in here. And I guess you can open sideways, which is nice. You're not going to kill yourself when you take it out. It has a nice little booklet like this. And you get 28 CDs plus one DVD, which I would not look at if you gave me all the CDs in the world. So anyway, let's just take a look and see what we have. Let's start with Mozart. Well, he did the symphonies, these same things with the Concertgebouw. And here we have symphonies 38, 39, 40, and 41. They're remakes. His Mozart is just perverse. It always was. It always will be. His phrasing is strange. His tempos are strange. You've got, the very opening of Symphony 40, right? It's da 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 da. No articulation at all from the divided violas. It's just, and he takes it at this sotto voce legato. It's so weird. It really is. He does all the repeats in the slow movement, of course, which makes it 13 minutes long, even though the tempo is quite quick. The minuet went nuts with the Concertgebouw. This is a little bit more rational, but it's still and then he's really slow on the finale. No. And with all the repeats, it's endless. The Jupiter is even more grotesque, with those exaggerated rhetorical emphases. Dump, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da, dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. It's all like that, It's really just tasteless and silly. But that was Harnoncourt. He had a concept. What can I tell you? You either go with it or you don't. Then we've got Mozart concert arias with Edita Gruberova. Well, that's nice because he's accompanying, and the weirdnesses can't ruin, undermine the singers completely. He's actually pretty considerate of his singers, to be honest with you. And there's some really beautiful arias in here. They're just lovely, 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 lovely. So that's just delicious, and we'll keep that. That's a keeper because Gruberova was a fine singer. So then we've got his Beethoven Symphony Cycle. Now, this cycle was kind of a revelation when it first came out. It was one of the first to use period brass with modern everything else. He used valveless trumpets and early timpani just to give it that extra cutting edge. And I liked his Beethoven for the most part, except for the pastoral, which is just horrible. And that's what's on the DVD, which is why I have no business, interest in watching it. It has this strange, oily legato throughout. It's another one of his concepts. It's pastoral music. It's supposed to be gentle. It's supposed to be nature. So instead of da dum ba ba da da dum bum ba da 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 with a natural, refreshing rhythm, it's he does that a lot. In various places. We'll come up with a couple others quite shortly. But, and sometimes rightly and sometimes wrongly, mostly wrongly. It's exaggerated, it's dreadful. But the rest of it was like kind of exciting, and it still is. So, it's not too bad. Then he did this disc of overtures, which I've always liked. I mean, you get Leonora 1, 2, and 3, Egmont, Fidelio, The Ruins of Athens, The Creatures of Prometheus, and Coriolan. And they're exciting. And they're much fresher and more interesting than that Pastoral Symphony, that's for damn sure. We have the complete Creatures of Prometheus, a fine performance of that. I mean, it's unusual anyway. You don't hear it all the time, and it's danceable and it's fun. And he, his exaggerations and things and rhetorical emphases come across sort of as colorful and characterful here. So that's nice to have. The Missa Solemnis. Now, one of his very last recordings, and it was for Sony, was the Missa Solemnis. And that's the one to get because he goes all in. Let's put it that way. My colleague Bob Levine, who does our opera reviews at classicstoday.com, loved that performance because it was he found it to be so devotional. And that's what it is. It's not really exciting. It's not storming the heavens sort of thing. It's a humble, sincere, hymn-like performance, but he carries the concept through the whole work, and it works. Somehow, it works. I get what Bob was saying. It's not my approach, but I understood it, and it made sense. This is not quite there yet. It's not terrible. You've got Eva May, Mariana Lepolchek, who I love, Anthony Rolfe Johnson, Robert Hall. I mean, good singers. The Schubert Choir, which is terrific. It's a good Missa Solemnis. And actually, Harnoncourt was always good in these large choral works. He really was, because his weirdness was tempered by the practicality of having to keep everybody together and make sense of it all. And for some reason, it usually worked. So that was okay. Then we have, oh dear, let's see, what have we got? Eek. Okay, let me get these out. The Beethoven Piano Concertos with Pierre-Laurent Aimard. These are just weird and they suck for the most part. They really do. I mean, 1 and 2, number 1 is endless. It's 39 minutes long. With a 19-minute long first movement. It's enough to kill you. 2 isn't so bad, but it's, no one cares. The third is the best performance in here. It's sort of gaunt and minor key-ish. And the tempos are up to snuff. And, he has a very wiry sound from the Chamber Orchestra of Europe, and Aimard's piano isn't recorded all that attractively. These were live recordings and in Graz, made in these Stephaniensaal in Graz, and they're kind of dry. And 4 and 5 are just awful. Oh my God, they're awful. Horrible string sound. Harnoncourt is at his most mannered in the first movement of the fourth, even if the tempo isn't really wrong. It's just weirdly phrased. And the Emperor is so small-scaled that it's almost like perverse. I find it always so funny. People dump on, Leonard Bernstein for supposedly being, the acme of self-indulgent excess. But a lot of these period instrument people, including Harnoncourt and Bruggen, sometimes, Saval, oh my God, they are as crazy and self-centered and narcissistic and perverse as Leopold Stokowski at his worst. They really are, and it just amazes me that people seem not to notice that. They give him a pass. They give them a pass. But it's just ridiculous. Oh, the Triple Concerto and the Choral Fantasy with Thomas Zayat-Meyer, Clemens Hagen, and Aimard. Horrible. Just horrible. The Triple Concerto is really horrible. The balances are all screwed up, and it's beyond irritating. And the Choral Fantasy is it's just strange. And he's usually good at choral stuff, but it doesn't come together. Beethoven Violin Concerto and Romances. Gideon Kramer. Well, let's put it this way. At least he's not using the Schnittke cadenzas here. He's using the piano concerto cadenza, and with a piano, actually. Oh, they've got to do something strange. The cadenza is Beethoven / Kramer doing his own thing, it's eccentric. Let's not kid ourselves. Then we have Fidelio, a good Fidelio. It's a sensible, good Fidelio. With, let's see, who we got? Boscovus is a very good Don Fernando. Sergei Leferkus, a good Don Pizarro. Florestan is Peter Seifert. He can sing. And Leonora is Charlotte Margiono. I mean, Rocco is Laszlo Polgar. It's like, must have been, been around for a while when he did that. Barbara Bonney is Marcellina. It's a very good cast. It's well played. It's exciting. It's dramatic. It does not have the Leonora Overture interpolated. And that's all right. It's okay. Really, it's okay. So that's good. Then we've got Schubert Masses. These are beautiful performances. The A-flat major and the E-flat major, the big, big, big masses. They don't get played enough. They don't get performed enough. Harnoncourt does things to keep it interesting, but he's not grotesque. He's serious. He's a serious Schubert Mass guy, which is like really nice. Mendelssohn. Okay, Symphonies 3 and 4. Yeah, they're good. They're not awful. Harnoncourt. Well, if you think Mendelssohn is like somewhat wimpish and uninteresting, and you think you know it, well, these may change your mind. Harnoncourt brings out details of the orchestration and color and things like that make you perk up a little bit. So if you're bored with Mendelssohn, well, these might unbore you. I think the opening of the Italian just needs more dash and virility, but the finale, the Tarantella or Saltarella, whatever it is very exciting. And he gets into the darker corners of the Scottish rather nicely. So that's good. And the rest of these Mendelssohn performances are fun. You've got Midsummer Night's Dream and Die erste Walpurgisnacht. Oh, this is terrific. I mean, the Walpurgisnacht is a great piece. If you don't know it, you're really missing something. It's absolutely marvelous. And the Midsummer Night's Dream are, the usual excerpts with some singing, with the songs in it. Very, very nicely done. And again, here's one of those things that allows Harnoncourt to sort of revel in the wonderfulness of Mendelssohn's orchestration and bring out all kinds of color. And in the Walpurgisnacht, which people don't know very well, he's really batting 1,000 there. He's pushing for the underdog, like Dochnani did actually in his 2 recordings of that work. It's just a masterpiece. It's about druids who are being attacked by the Christians, and the Druids win. It's a good poem. It's all kinds of fun. Then we've got his Schumann cycle. Well, first of all, the 4th Symphony is the 1841 first version, without the wonderful introduction to the finale, and it's got a really, really fast scherzo that's sort of like the Mozart G minor, kind of ridiculous, and the Rhenish is just flat-footed. And it's interesting, because the Rhenish is the one with all the problems in the orchestration, and Harnoncourt does nothing to solve them. Absolutely nothing. But 1 and 2 are good. 1 and 2 are lively and attractive, and they're all right. So that's that one. Then let's see, more Schumann. Oh, this is famous. The Piano Concerto and the Violin Concerto. So the Piano Concerto is with Martha Argerich, and everybody went nuts when it came out, and it's very good. It really is. The Violin Concerto is with Kramer, and it's also very probing. It tries to make something really substantial out of the piece, and it largely succeeds. It really does. It's well worth hearing. It's a beautiful Schumann disc. It was after that Schumann Piano Concerto, by the way, that this rumor went around the classical music world that Argerich and Harnoncourt were going to do all the Beethoven concertos. And when, of course, the disc came out, it was with Amard, and everybody went, oh, why couldn't it have been Argerich? I think we still need to ask that question, although Amard and Harnoncourt get along fabulously. I mean, they're all totally of one mind in playing the music so badly. But Argerich would have been a whole different thing. Then we've got Schumann's opera, Genevieve. See, again, this is another one of those things where Harnoncourt was really, really doing well with unusual repertoire. Nobody cares much about Genevieve, but, Harnoncourt did a bunch of Schumann, lesser known, like big works, and I think, didn't he do Paradise in the Peri and that stuff? I think he did. Anyway, the bottom line is, it's not a bad opera. It's not a great opera, but it's not a bad opera, and it's good to hear it. And Harnoncourt wrings all the color out of it, and the cast is quite capable. What does it say here? It says, cast on CD 27. All right, well, here's CD 27, and, oh, there is a cast. There we go. Let's see. Hidolfus. Rodney Gilfrey, Oliver Widmer, Ruth Zisak is Genevieve. She's very good. Mariana Lipovshek, who I always like, as I said. Margareta. Dion van der Walt. Thomas Kvasthoff is Drago. So, yeah, I mean, you know, they sing it really well, and it's a wonderful opportunity to hear this lesser-known work. Sadly, there's no libretto. There was at one point in its life, but not. Last but not least, Dvorak, the Slavonic dances. Oh, this is great. You know, Harnoncourt's Dvorak was terrific. I don't know what it was about Dvorak, but it got to him. But he was faithful and exciting and just slamming. It's a beautiful set of Slavonic dances, full of just color and dash and rhythm, and he doesn't screw with it terribly. It's just delightful. Then we've got like this DVD. It's The Concert, Symphonies 8 and 6 by Beethoven, and the making of the Symphonies documentary, which is about as exciting as, like, you know, who cares how they did it. I don't give a damn about how anyone did anything in this business. All I care about is what they did and the audible result. So let me get this pile of stuff and stuff it back in here. So as you can see, this really does represent Harnoncourt at his Harnoncourtiest. I mean, there's brilliant stuff and interesting stuff and worthy stuff and disgusting stuff. Oh, boy. So if you haven't heard these performances yet, and you want them, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I mean, would I get this box? If I could get any of these separate things, the Slavonic dances, the Mendelssohn Walpurgisnacht, the Schumann Concerto, the Beethoven symphonies, except the sixth, those are all worth having. The Schubert masses, they're all worth having. They really are. But there's still a lot of stuff that's not worth having. And so it's going to be an issue of price and an issue of how much time and how willing you are to go with Harnoncourt's weirdness stuff, and maybe you'd be more open to it than I would. But remember, you're going to own this stuff forever, and it has to have staying power. Some of it does, some of it doesn't. Life is like that sometimes, folks. Keep on listening and take care.